Welcome to DrKatinaTalks, the podcast where we explore the journey to a more fulfilling, balanced, and meaningful life. I'm your host, Dr. Katina, and I'm here to share stories, insights, and strategies that inspire you to live life more authentically. Today, I want to talk about something we do without realizing it. When we engage, we think we are responding to what is happening in the now, but often, we are actually responding to what happened before. The things we liked, the things that hurt, the moments that disappointed us, the moments that made us feel safe. Those experiences, they don't disappear. They shape how we interpret people and how we interpret situations, how we step into opportunities, how we see ourselves. In this episode, I want to explore how the past can quietly become a filter, how something that once made sense in one season can start shaping another season without us noticing. Because sometimes we are not reacting to the current moment. We are reacting to memory. And growth begins when we learn to tell the difference. Let's dive in. My first visit to Italy was when I was active duty in the Air Force. My workmates and I were looking forward to the weekend so we could go into town and explore. And part of that exploration was eating authentic Italian food in a mom and pop restaurant. We arrived at the restaurant and I was so excited for the authentic experience. So, what did I order? Lasagna. I chose it because it felt familiar, and I was not trying to stretch myself here. I wanted something I understood. And when it arrived, it did not look like the lasagna I was used to. There was no thick layer of ricotta, no heavy red sauce sitting on top. It was layered differently. Pasta, cheese, a creamy bechamel sauce throughout. At the time, I didn't even fully understand what bechamel was. I only knew it was different. It was not the lasagna I had grown up with. And my first reaction had nothing to do with taste. It had everything to do with expectation. Before I tasted it, I thought to myself, this is not how lasagna is supposed to look. That thought did not come from the dish. It came from my memory. What I was doing was comparing the present to the past before I ever gave it a chance. And we do this in ways that are far more significant than food. We do this with people. You meet someone new, and within minutes you are measuring them against someone who once disappointed you. You interpret tone, energy, and behavior through history that has nothing to do with them. If you did not like vegetables as a child, you may still say as an adult, I do not eat vegetables. But maybe it was not the vegetables. Maybe they were boiled, overcooked, underseasoned. Perhaps it was the preparation, not the vegetable. Early experiences are powerful, but they do not always reveal the truth. More recently, after travel restrictions lifted, my husband and I took a quiet trip to Portugal. For months, we were stuck in the house like everyone else, unable to travel or move freely in the way we were used to. So when we could, we booked a short 5-day trip, stayed in a boutique hotel, walked the cobblestone streets to a local restaurant, and once seated, olives were placed on the table. We've been married for 30 years, and for this entire time, neither one of us liked olives. But with our newfound freedom from COVID restrictions, we were ready to try anything new. So we tried one, and then another, then another. We looked at each other and realized we loved them. The olive had not changed. We had. The season had not changed. And in that moment, I realized that context shapes interpretation. Here are 5 life lessons that rise from that awareness. 1. You may not be reacting to this moment. You may be reacting to another one. When that lasagna arrived in Italy, my reaction formed before I tasted it. This is not how lasagna is supposed to look. That response was not about the plate in front of me. It was about every lasagna I had eaten before. We do this in life. Someone says something neutral and our body tightens. An opportunity presents itself and you hesitate. A disagreement starts and you brace for conflict. Nothing significant has happened yet, but something in you has already decided what this is going to be. That is not always the present. Sometimes that is memory stepping in first. Before you respond, ask yourself, is this about now or is this about then? 2. Some things you decided about yourself may no longer be true. If you did not like vegetables as a child, it may have been the way they were prepared, boiled, bland, overcooked. But that early experience can turn into a lifelong identity statement. I don't eat that. We do the same thing with ourselves. I'm not creative. I'm not good with people. But the version of you who formed that opinion may not be the version of you sitting here today. You have grown. You have endured. You have matured. Some conclusions deserve to be revisited. Not because you were wrong then, but because you are different now. 3. Context shapes interpretation. In Portugal, after months of being confined during COVID, olives were placed on the table. For years, we had said we did not like olives. We tried them. We loved them. The olive had not changed. We had. The season had. After restriction, there was more openness, more presence. The same is true emotionally. You may have encountered something during a season of stress or insecurity or exhaustion, and you decided it was not for you, but perhaps it was the season. So before you close the door on something entirely, ask yourself, what was happening in my life when I first experienced this? And 4, familiarity can quietly shape your decisions. My Jamaican mother-in-law, who is now deceased, loved pepper sauce. It reminded her of home, of culture, of what she had always known. She added it to nearly everything, and I do mean everything. Not because every dish required it, but because it made the food recognizable. There's nothing wrong with that. But it made me think, how often do we do the same thing emotionally? We add something familiar to new experiences so they feel easier to interpret. We compare a new relationship to an old one before it has formed its own identity. We approach a new opportunity with the same hesitation we carried in a different season. We listen for old patterns instead of what is actually being said. Familiarity is powerful. It stabilizes us. But if we are not careful, it can also limit us. Here is the question I would like you to ponder. Where are you adding pepper sauce to every new experience so that it feels more like your past? And 5, not everything you walked away from was the full story. The lasagna in Italy did not need to resemble what I had known before in order to be rich. The olives in Portugal did not need to fit my old opinion in order to be enjoyable. The difference was not the food. It was the lens. Sometimes what we reject is not the thing itself. It is the version we encountered in a particular season. And sometimes the most honest growth is not about chasing something new. It is about recognizing that your interpretation may have been shaped by timing, environment, and who you were at that moment. You are not the same person you were when you formed some of your strongest conclusions. That deserves reflection. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who may need to hear it. Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And if you made it all the way to the end, I want to share something with you. I have not officially launched it yet, but my latest guided journal book, Love by Dr. Katina, is now available on Amazon. It goes deeper into the patterns and emotional filters we carry into our relationships. If this conversation stirred something in you, the book will continue the work. Until next time, remain aware of the lens you are looking through. Bye for now.